Hello everyone, I am Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IAS English channel. In our today's video, we are going to understand the possible succession of the existing Dalai Lama, who's the spiritual head of Tibetan Buddhism. But why is the possible succession of a spiritual leader so important for countries like China, India and US? We'll try to find out in our today's video, right? Now the notes for these video, if you want to download them, they will be available on the Telegram channel called as ATS Live. So what you need to do, open your Telegram app in the mobile phones. On the top right hand corner, there is a search bar. Click on it and enter the words ATS Live. You'll be able to find the channel. But if you still have problem in locating it, this is the QR code that you need to scan. Subscribe to the channel if you still haven't and download the notes. Okay, let us start our today's discussion by understanding what is happening right now, because it will give you the context of what happened before. Now, the present Dalai Lama, 14th Dalai Lama, he made a statement today. He said that the 600-year-old institution of the spiritual head of Tibetan Buddhism, or the institution of Dalai Lama, it would continue to be remaining because he has created a body specifically known as Gaiden Phodrang Trust, whose sole responsibility is to recognize the possible successor. Now, the current Dalai Lama is 14th Dalai Lama. So, the Phodrang Trust will effectively identify the next or 15th Dalai Lama. So this decision of the 14th Dalai Lama has effectively shut down all the opportunities for Chinese Communist Party to decide on the next Dalai Lama. And this is a very significant event, because if you remember, back in 2011, Dalai Lama said that I will identify my successor by my 90th birthday. And you'll be surprised to know that the existing Dalai Lama celebrates his 90th birthday in few days from now, that is in July the 6th. So this development becomes important. Now the next question that might be appearing in your mind is, who is Dalai Lama and how is he so important? So let us find that one out. Now, the institution of Dalai Lama, which you translate it to English, it effectively means ocean of wisdom. So it is believed that Dalai Lama is the physical manifestation of Avalokiteshvara, which is the Bodhisattva of compassion and a patron saint of the region of Tibet. Now, Bodhisattvas, they are the persons who help other people to achieve the path of nirvana, or the path of salvation, effectively putting others in priority over and above themselves. So these are the Bodhisattvas, and effectively Dalai Lama is the Bodhisattva, that is the Bodhisattva of compassion. Now, what you need to understand, this institution of Dalai Lama, it emerged from the Tulku concept of Tibetan Buddhism, which says that the spiritual masters, they are reincarcerated after their death. And the purpose of this reincarnation is that teachings of Dalai Lama, it continues to get preserved and carried forward by the next successor. So the first Dalai Lama was Gaiden Drupa, who was born in 1391. But the most important office of Dalai Lama came to be the fifth Dalai Lama, because earlier Dalai Lama was just the spiritual head of Tibetan Buddhism, but from fifth Dalai Lama onwards, not just spiritual leader, Dalai Lama effectively also became a political leader of the Tibet Buddhism. So he originally was the spiritual leader, then he continued to remain even the political leaders of Tibetan Buddhists, right? Now, how is the next Dalai Lama chosen? Now, the search for next Dalai Lama traditionally it starts after the death of existing Dalai Lama. So, after the death of existing Dalai Lama, senior monks of Tibet Buddhism, they interpret sign, consult oracles, as well as search the entire Tibetan region for a child who exhibit the qualities and the characteristics of the outgoing Dalai Lama. And you can understand this process could effectively take years before getting completed, which has the possibility of creating a vacuum in the Tibetan spiritual as well as political leadership. So this vacuum can be quite detrimental in the current times. Why? I'll tell you. Now, the current Dalai Lama, he is the 14th Dalai Lama, and he was born as a person known as Tenzin Gyatso, and he was born back in 1935 in a region of northeastern Tibet, which currently belongs to China, particularly Qinghai province of China. Now, this 14th Dalai Lama, he was found by a search party back in 1939, which effectively was 6 years after the death of previous Dalai Lama, who was 13th Dalai Lama, right? Now, this reincarnation of the current Dalai Lama was recognized after he exhibited several qualities. First of all, a senior monk of Tibetan Buddhism had a vision that this child would be present in the Tibetan region, and when the search party took a look at the toddler who was the 14th Dalai Lama, they identified that the belongings of the previous Dalai Lama came to be identified by the toddler, that was Tenzin Gyatso. So it was decided that he will be the next Dalai Lama, and he was sworn into office in the year of 1940. So since 1940, Tenzin Gyatso is the 14th Dalai Lama. Now what happened that a year after communists took power in China, the People Liberation Army, or the PLA, they invaded the autonomous region of Tibet. Now in 1951, this Tibet was annexed by China, and in March 1959, a very important national uprising done by the Tibetan population, it was also crushed by Chinese troops. So effectively, it put the lives and the legacy of Dalai Lama at risk. So to avoid all the threat to his life and legacy of the entire Tibetan Buddhism, Dalai Lama, along with his thousands of followers, they escaped from Lhasa, which is the capital of Tibet, and they eventually crossed border into the Arunachal Pradesh region of India. Now at that time in 1960, the Prime Minister of India was Jawaharlal Nehru. So his government gave these Tibetan refugees a place to stay in McLeodganj Dharamshala of Himachal Pradesh, where the Tibetan government in exile was established. So Tibetan government in exile even today continues to operate from McLeodganj Dharamshala, which is located in Himachal Pradesh, right? Now on March the 14th, the Dalai Lama, he wrote to an assembly of Tibetan people deputies, known effectively as Tibetan Parliament in exile, asking himself to be relieved from his political duties, right? So afterwards, a formal transfer of political power happened to a democratically elected leaders of Tibetan who are living in exile, and this happened at that year itself in 2011. So this effectively ended a 368-year-old tradition where the Dalai Lama was seen both as a spiritual and a political leader. So from 2011 onwards, Dalai Lama continues only to be a spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism, right? Now, why Tibet matters to China? You have to understand Tibet matters to China for several reasons. First of all, because of its very strategic location, because Tibet allows China to access Indian subcontinent directly. Severally, even Tibet is home to many rivers and natural resources, including the Sangpo River, which is the Brahmaputra River. So what China does, it effectively drives the water from the water surplus region of Tibet into the water scarce region of northwest China, right? So this is why the entire region of Tibet is very important for China for both strategic as well as geographical purposes. Now, you understand that currently China has political as well as administrative control over the region of Tibet. But China even today does not have spiritual or cultural control over Tibet region. So to gain the control of this region culturally, what Chinese government is doing, that it is settling millions and millions of people belonging to the ethnicity of Han Chinese, which is the largest ethnic community in the entire China. And they have done so in order to clamp down on the indigenous Tibetan culture. And this is among the several practices that has been dubbed as a practice of Sinicization, right? Which is an intention of the Chinese government to align the minority groups such as Tibets and their cultures and integrate them into the larger majority culture of China. So this is an attempt by Chinese government to appropriate the region of Tibet culturally. Now, to appropriate this region of spiritually, China needs to control the office of Dalai Lama, which couldn't currently because it is operated from India, right? So what Chinese government originally planned, that they will interfere with the possible succession of Dalai Lama and appoint their stooge or appoint a leader which is pliable to the regime of Communist Party of China, right? So the Chinese intention right now is to get a leader which is known to them appointed as the next Dalai Lama. And this has been seen even previously because another senior leader of Tibetan Buddhism, Panchen Lama, even his succession was interfered by the Chinese Communist Party government. So in this regard, the current Dalai Lama, he made a statement in 2011 denying the possibility that there might be a successor for him. But his latest statement ended this speculation of the succession, because now he has highlighted that this office would continue to remain so, and he will ensure that a new Dalai Lama is elected in his life only, right? So this suggestion of possible abolishment emerged from the possibility that China might influence the process of next appointment of the Dalai Lama, right? Now, what will happen now? The next big question is what will happen after the Dalai Lama has decided something. Now, the 14th Dalai Lama said today that his successor will be named while he is still alive, betraying the centuries old tradition that the successor would be found after the death of Dalai Lama. And he also maintained that the child might be born even outside Tibet because currently Tibet is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. Now, the Chinese government has said that only the Chinese government has the authority to find the next Dalai Lama, because the leaders have the right to approve the successor's legacy as they have done since the imperial times. And the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama should be decided following the national laws and legislation. So this effectively put two parties against each other. Dalai Lama wants his independent successor, whereas Chinese government wants one of their appointees to be denominated as the next Dalai Lama. Understood the entire discussion? Now, what do you think? What separates students from Delhi University with another students, right? Because when you look at the final list of UPSC, you'll see a lot of DU students have qualified this exam. There must be some reason, right? The reason is that they are continuing to prepare for UPSC exam right at the time they start taking admissions in their colleges. So it effectively gives them 3 years of time to start preparing for UPSC before they give their attempt after their graduation period. And also, as you understand, Delhi University students are located in Delhi, so it is easier for them to physically consult a UPSC expert. But you also need to understand that with the onset of digital era, this level playing field has been created with the aspirants who are located in Delhi, with the aspirants who are located in other parts of the country. And they can utilize technology to get the necessary guidance which will help them clear the UPSC exam. And we do so effectively using our resolution batches, because these resolution batches, specifically for the year 27 and 28, this is catered to working professional and college going students, because you understand, for those people their priority is their professional and educational responsibility. So in order to get guidance, you have to take a course that will help you do away with the disadvantage that you might face after getting located in other parts of the country. So please enroll yourself with the resolution batches. This resolution batch comes with one-to-one mentorship, where mentors in StudyIQ who have given the interviews previously, they will help you guide your preparation at the each possible time. And they will understand your shortcomings, they will understand your strengths, and they will suggest the study plan accordingly. And all of this you can get it by taking admissions to the resolution batches, the batches which will start from 14th July onwards. To take admissions to one of these batches, you'll needing to use the code ATS Live, because it will help you get discounts, and effectively the course fees will be provided to you for 49,999. How to apply the code? What are the benefits? Let me tell you. Now, to apply the code, you'll need to go to a StudyIQ IAS website. You'll be needing to create an account here first by simply logging in with your mobile number. Once you're done with the logging in formality, select all language option and click English. Why am I suggesting English? Because particularly for students who are living in Northeast or in the southern parts of our country, I understand Hindi or taking teaching in Hindi would be quite challenging. So we are offering batches which are taught exclusively in English language. Now, I told you the 2028 batch is the best option for you, because it gives you effectively 3 years of time and you have a sufficient amount of time where you can get prepared. Now, this batch, it provides you many benefits, and right now it is available at 49,999, but you can get this batch at a discounted rate after you apply the code that is flashing on the bottom half of your screen, that is ATS Live. You can use that code on any courses, right? How to apply that code? You need to click on buy now. Once you click on buy now, on the right add promo code, and on the left write ATS Live and click apply. As soon as you click apply, you'll see discount of 7,000 rupees is applied, and this course right now is available at 47,999. And you know the best part of this course? This is having a validity of 60 months, that is effectively 5 years. So if you take your course right now, and you can give attempts up till 2030, and the benefits of this course will be available to you. Now, if you get this course, you obviously will get live classes, so you can attend the lectures live, and if you for some reason miss out on lectures, even the recorded lectures will be available to you, which you can watch n number of times. Similarly, you'll get one-to-one mentorship, and as I've already told you, mentors in StudyIQ, they are the ones who have cleared even the mains examination, have given interviews of UPSC. So they'll know what are your strengths and weaknesses, and they'll help you at every possible time. And the best part is that they are even available 24/7 via text and phone call. You'll also get answer writing program, prelims test series, which will help you hone the skills. And you also get access to CAP modules, which effectively is the summary of all important news sources, and it will help you cover the current affairs as well. Please remember that if you have any doubt, please do not hesitate us to call. This is the number that you need to contact, 9240231070, and do not forget to let them know to use the code ATS Live before you take admission, because it helps you save 7,000 of your or your parents' hard-earned money. So this is all from my side. Let us get back to our discussion. This is the practice question that I want you to solve. This is a question that appeared in 2018 with reference to Indian history. Who among the following is the future Buddha yet to come to save the world? Do let me know the answers in the comment section, and the ones who answer it correctly, you will receive a thumbs up from my side that you know you've answered it right. And once again, if you want to download the notes, these will be available on the Telegram channel ATS Live. Subscribe it and download the notes. So we'll see each other again tomorrow. Please have a very good day.